हेलो एवरीवन, कैसे हो सब। सो टुडेज वीडियो इज़ ऑल अबाउट how you're hiring, how you will build projects, how the hiring is gonna be in post AI era, right? So before starting the video, I would like to clarify that no one exactly knows 100% of the things that are going on in AI, right? They don't even know what they what in future will matter, right? And the thing is, all the things that I'll speak about, I'll tell you that how to build projects, how to build resume, how to get hired in post AI era, how to do anything, right? That will be purely coming from the industry insights that I am seeing around myself, around people, around hiring, and around the processes that has been changed, right? Like the process of hiring, the process of building projects, the process of selecting resume, etc., right? So yeah, that is the context of the video. So let me start with the canvas. Okay, so first we'll take about that how your code, how you should approach coding. So there are two phases, right? We are talking about building projects as of now. So there are two phases. So first phase is that you are learning something. So you are in learning phase, right? You are in learning phase. So when you are learning, like when you are making your side projects, when you are learning a new language, new framework, then in that case your learning path should be again go to according to me, my learning path is either go to the documentation, right, or any YouTube video, right, crash course, so that I would be comfortable with the syntax, right? After that, I'll make a very basic project. That project idea can come from chat gpt, like I'll ask that these all topics I have done and what project should I make, right? So that is the thing. After that, if I'll get stuck in any flow of my project, then I'll go to Stack Overflow. Still I'll go to Stack Overflow because here I will get the people way of thinking of different people, different brains, I would say, ki how different smart people are thinking. So I'll get inspire, or I'll get some kind of approach that I should use in my project. So Stack Overflow is a kind of methodology where you'll get ki how people are thinking about, right? And then you can have the worst cases, you can ask chat gpt or Claude, or in general any LLM, right? So the learning phase should be like this only. Otherwise you will you'll not know any syntax, you will not be clear about internals details, because see, when you'll go through different approaches on Stack Overflow, you'll see ki how people are approaching it in different ways, right? So yeah, learning phase is same. But now when it comes to building projects, right? Now building projects, now while you are building project, you have to understand ki now the code. See, I've also tweeted on my Twitter, you can follow my Twitter handle, but I've tweeted that writing code was never a skill. What a skill was writing clean code. So first of all, you should focus on how to design your projects. What I meant by designing is, you can go through our recent video, which is we built a chat room in C++. So there in the first half, I've only explained how we are going to approach the project, how like the different components that will be in the project and all, right? So that is what we call low level design or whatever. So you have to have an idea ki how to design a basic, how to design, how to implement a basic design, right, before writing any code. So architecting the project in your mind is more important nowadays. Now the second thing is which stack or what components you have to use, right? So deciding factors like DB, which DB you want to use, database, right? And which language you want to use, the advantages, the disadvantages of your stack. These things you have to see, right? After that, you have to make sure the DB design and everything, right? So our crash course on databases is coming where we'll design the DB, but DB's design and everything is important. So now we have come back to our basics, right? In AI era, we are focusing back to our basics, like the approach, how your project should start. After that, now these processes are more important, and the people who are experienced, they should also focus on test driven development, TDD. So basically what test driven development is, that here what we'll do is ki here we have, let's say, I'm only giving you an example that let's say we want to store something in database, right? And we have made some class, and that class is, let's say, is called user repository. Right? This class is responsible to store or to delete or to update anything in my user database. Now what I'll do is ki I will generate code from LLM, right? I will generate a test case from LLM. This is not a test driven development, by the way. Test driven development is basically you write a test, you write a code, and you check if your test case is passing. If it is not passing, you refactor your either your test case or code. Then you keep on checking until your test case passes, right? So that is test driven development. But in AI, what you can use is now in new test driven development, AI test driven development is ki I will tell my LLM how you should tell the context to the LLM that will come to. But the thing is, you have told that generate user repository functions. You have told cursor AI or whatever. It generated some code. Then you said that write some unit test case, unit test or end-to-end test. The tests are passing or failing doesn't matter. You have to check the tests, how the test cases are written. Are they basic test cases, or are they the test cases which are including all the complex functionalities or every flow that you have written, right? Or LLM written. So this is what is called test driven development, that you have generated a code, you have then written a test case both from LLM, then you are checking your code if your code is correct or not. Now the skill is not writing code, the skills are writing clean code, right? Writing a clean code, and then if LLM wrote some bullshit, then you have to refactor the code. Third thing is you have to do test driven development, or you can say that your code is working. Make sure or to take some confidence in yourself, you have to write some test cases that itself you can generate from LLM. But the thing is, those test cases you have to check. And the last thing is debugging. So people who don't know the syntax, that's why I told that at learning phase you have to go through the documentation of the language or stack, whatever. You have to go through the project on YouTube, whatever. You have to go through the Stack Overflow, different people's perspective. You have to, then the worst case is ask LLM, right? This is the worst case. Or Google search should also come with Stack Overflow, right? Okay, got it. Now the thing is key, okay, now these four factors are more important. You should be able to write clean code or refactor the code whatever the LLM has written, right? And then you have to generate the test cases also, and those test cases should be passing. After that, you have to check the test cases if the test cases are complex enough, or are they covering the the whole path of the function whichever you are testing, right? And the last thing is debugging. You should know if test case is not working, you should be able to debug the test case, or I would say function. So these points are more important when you are working on your project. Now when you are building your project, right, we'll come to resume also. Right now we are only talking about, we talked about learning, we are talking about building project. So when you are building project, reiterating, you have to make sure that you are designing your project well. Check our any video, like recent video where we have made a project, you will see that we are designing our project. I'll attach the links in the description also. Then deciding factors, right? Then DB design, like every fundamental, right? Then write some test cases also, so that in future if you want to add any new feature. So there are two kind of project building. One is 0 to 1 and another one is 1 to 100. So 0 to 1 is a scratch implementation of any project. So these implementations, the freshers, like the people who are fresher, right, they're very confident in 0 to 1, but they are not confident in 1 to 100. Why? Because they don't even know the context that they have written in 0 to 1, and that's where they will suffer in AI also. See, when you are building a project, right, you have to make sure if you are building 0 to 1 or 1 to 100. If you are building 0 to 1, make sure from the very start you are building the LLM context also, right? I will attach one link in my description which is from Prajwal, who is a friend of mine on Twitter, and he has posted a very good tweet how to use cursor AI effectively, right? So there is something called how to give a context to cursor, right? So there is cursor AI, right? There is Windsurf. So these tools, don't rely on any YouTuber to tell you that these tools exist, right? Go check videos of different creators how they are using, and go and use in your projects, right? There is a structure that I'll tell you for any LLM, but the extension that I use is C-line or Cline in VS Code, right? It's my personally favorite because see, I can give my own LLM key, I can use my own LLM, whatever, right? I can specify my own LLM. There is no pricing specific to client. That is like the case in both Cursor and Windsurf, right? So that's why I use client. So I'll give you an example of client how I use LLM, right? So basically, whenever I am building a 0 to 1 project, means I am starting a new project. For my side project, I don't use AI at all because I want to learn as much as I can. But in my company or in my task, I have to use AI. So there, what we do is key. First thing, we have to build context for your LLM, right? So your LLM should know the context. So you have to make a markdown file, right? So we make markdown file where we'll say that what are the functional requirements, that like what my service will be doing, right? Functional requirements. Then any design, LLD, that we make using Mermaid. So then coming to the PRD, like product basically requirements document, whatever. But the thing is key, let's suppose you are making authentication service. So functional requirement would be it should be able to authenticate any user, it should be able to store tokens, etc, etc. Then LLD will be like there are some components of authentication, there is some component of DB, there is some component of like user service. So all the design that you can use in Mermaid. So basically LLMs understand text more easily than images, right? So instead of copying the image, you can use Mermaid. Mermaid is basically where you can generate design using code, right? Like LLD, sequence diagrams and all. Then you come to the flow, that where you can tell the state using Mermaid again. Let's say my user states are my user is login, right? He's a new user, right? So my users in my DB there are states like new user, right? There is one more state, let's say old user, right? One is, let's say, banned user. So what is like the relation between these states for the user? You have to generate through Mermaid and write everything, and then you will tell LLM all of this, right? So what we'll do is we'll make a kind of memory bank. Memory bank is nothing but a folder in my project itself, and in my memory bank I will store something. So first thing I will store is prd.md. PRD is basically my product requirements, whatever I want from my service. Then functional requirements, let's suppose .m markdown. Then let's suppose LLD, what my service will do, that I will draw in my markdown file using Mermaid. And then I will any state like state management or any DB database queries, everything. So everything I have to tell to my LLM in my markdown files. What markdown files are just simply text which can be converted easily to diagrams if you are writing in correct format or whatever. Then what you will do using this memory bank, you will go to C-line, what is client, and go and tell client that you use my memory bank, and then ask LLM that what you want to do. So from 0 to 1 project, this memory bank will be enough. Now when your project is made, and in future, let's suppose after 2 months you are adding one feature in your project, so that is where you are taking that project 1 to 100, like adding some new feature on top of your project. At that time you will already have your memory bank. So your LLM will hallucinate a lot, right? Sometimes let's suppose whenever you are writing a test case, so in my case my LLM was not reading this annotation in my Spring Boot, right? So whenever I was writing a test case, it was not reading this annotation in my Spring Boot code. So what I did is this note null, I had one more markdown file which is test.markdown. So in my markdown file I have written one line in my markdown file that do not ignore this thing, right? Use this thing, and whenever you are mocking, so basically whenever you write a test case, you have to mock some classes. Whenever you mocking, do not ignore this annotation. So these are kind of feedback that you will put into your memory bank, so that with time your context will be updated, right? That's how we are using LLMs, and I am using LLMs. And in future your context will be such that in any new service you will directly put these test MD, the rules which are generic to any kind of Spring Boot service in my case, right? So yeah, that is where LLMs are used, in structure. This was just an example. I'll attach one link where Prajwal told how to use cursor rules. Different files are there to give LLM context, right? Okay, now this is how you should build projects fast, right? While learning a new thing, you should not use LLM at all. Now comes to hiring, right? uh, on internet I've seen people, the US startups, that would like the method of their hiring is ki, they are just telling people like you have 2 hours, you have to build end to end system with AI, and you are hired. Only one round. But the thing is, according to me, what they will do, even if they will take this round, let's suppose 2 hour full AI coding round, they will ask you follow-ups. Now, what they will do is, they will say, ki, now you made 0 to 1 project, right? You made in 2 hours. Now I just want to add one feature. Let's suppose they asked you to make a Uber ticket booking system. Now they will say you have to add, let's suppose, two users or user banning feature. Ki you should be able to ban a user. Now this feature, if you want to add, you should understand what AI wrote. This is where your skills will come. That's why in learning phase you should know LLM, and when you have learned fully, made some few different projects, then you should build a major project where you are using AI a lot, and you are making LLM context from the very start, and you are updating with time that context, right? So that's how hiring will become, right? And if AI round is not there in hiring, then we have to make sure that basically your fundamentals are strong. So on Twitter also I am tweeting constantly that with AI coming into the picture, more emphasis will be given to fundamentals like your database concepts, operating system concepts, because at the end of the day, the errors that will not be fixed by AI are like where you have to get heap dump, thread dump, you have to analyze CPU utilization, etc., etc., right? That will still be some abstraction to AI that we can, like, basically for a human it is a hypothesis. We always take a hypothesis that this could happen, then we go into matrix logs, we try to correlate different things, and then we'll come with some, confirmation for that hypothesis, that it is a, it's a kind of our theory, right? So fundamentals will always be important. So that's why we already covered OS. DBMS is coming in one go soon, next video, right? Fundamentals are important for hiring purposes. DS is still important. Why? Because your problem solving skills are more important than writing code. How you are thinking, how you are thinking in first principles. First principles is basically how you are dividing a problem. You are not solving a, you are not making a bridge. You're focusing how to stack different bricks on top of each other. So that's how DSA comes into the picture, right? And then next thing is networking is the new resume. Network as much as you can. I have seen a lot of people on Twitter getting jobs. Why? Because see, they are already joining Twitter spaces. Twitter space is nothing but a kind of call that different creators hold weekly, alternate week, whatever, depends on them. But Twitter space is just a get together kind of chat, right? So go into a Twitter space, interact with them. So first thing is that share your projects, on Twitter, right? Follow relevant people, the people who are in your domain. If you are in design, follow the people who are good in design and who are in industry. That is important. People who are not in industry are also giving, some advices on X. You should avoid that, obviously. But yeah, those are the thing. This point is way more important, right? Where is that? Yeah, networking is the new resume. That is way more important. People are not gonna look at your resume, right? Two type of hiring will be There will be two type of hiring. One is through networking, right? You're networking with people, and founders are coming, checking your post because you have built some project and they have similar problem. They will hire you from comments itself, like the interview round. I've seen people doing that. And the second thing is key, make there will be AI hiring. So in AI hiring, you can already check Mercury AI. So kind of similar companies. I'm not talking that they are the go-to companies, but the thing is, similar kind of companies will come where AI agent will take your interview from resume. If you are able to answer all the questions from your resume, let's suppose you have written auth system, then AI agent itself will analyze your resume and will ask some random questions in authentication systems, and if you are able to answer, it is fine, right? So AI hiring, networking is resume, two things. And the second thing is now you should have to focus on full stack. Either you can be front end heavy or back end heavy, but you have to make sure that you know at least little bits and bytes of full stack that is there. Because see, end to end prototyping is more important for freshers, because they should be able to build full stack projects, and they can become specialist once they get into industry. They can become back end, front end, whatever, right? So this was my video, right? These are all my findings from around myself, from different people in the industry and all. And again, disclaimer, nobody knows ki what exactly is gonna happen in future, but whatever I have told you, mostly this is only gonna happen, right? Everything is hyped because some people are gonna they want to sell some GPUs, some people want to cut some workforce, so they have their different reasons. But this is what most probably is going to happen.